Hey, I Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. I'm coming to you on behalf of LightBio, our channel sponsor, to show you a perfect mix of how to take the original Firefly Petunia and spice it up and make a nice 4th of July planter. Now, if you've been hiding under a rock or don't realize, this year is the 250th anniversary of the United States, which means 4th of July this year is going to be very, very wild. So what other way to celebrate with a Firefly Petunia than to make a 4th of July planter? So what we're going to do is we're going to use a few plants, put them together so that we can spruce up that white petunia into something that is patriotic and looks beautiful on our deck. And the best part is, while you're watching those 4th of July fireworks and all of your other baskets and planters are sitting there, your Firefly Petunia is the one that's going to be putting on a show. That's right, it will be glowing in the dark while you're watching those fireworks. What a better time to enjoy your outdoor garden than to celebrate the birth of our nation. So come on in close, let's take a look at what's going on, and I'll show you how to put this together. Okay, so with our planter, what we're using is a 7-gallon nursery container, although any planter is going to do just fine as long as you have about 16 inches of diameter and about 12 inches of depth. That'll provide enough soil volume so that all of the plants in the planter have enough space for their roots to grow. So a good size planter is what we want to use. The next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we've got the right potting media. So this is a peat perlite mix. This mix is fairly light. It's got the perlite for the air and it's got the peat for the moisture retention. We want to make sure that we are using a peat perlite mix and stay away from anything that has heavy bark or contains the word compost. Those mixes are too wet, they have a lot of bacteria in them, and they can actually be detrimental to your plants that you plant them in. Firefly petunias especially like to have a good light potting mix, so peat perlite is the best thing that you can use. So let me introduce you to the star of our show. This is an original Firefly Petunia. This is a bioluminescent petunia, which means it glows in the dark. And we don't need to charge it up. It glows on its own. It produces its own light. So this is going to be our central plant. It's going to have a position of honor right in the center of the pot. The next thing we're going to use for our patriotic mix is a red and white bicolor petunia. So this one has a pinwheel arrangement alternating with red and white. This particular variety is called Amore King of Hearts because of the little heart shape on the red section of the petals. But it provides a perfect combination of red and white to replicate our national colors. So this is going to be the next plant in our mix. Now, when we're planting a planter, we want to make sure that it's balanced. So we want the same thing planted on both sides. So I have a second Amore King of Hearts, which is going to go on this opposite side. But again, any red and white petunia is going to work for this mix. Now, as you notice, we have our red and our white colors, which means we need to add that last color for our patriotic mix, which is a blue. Now, unfortunately, this one's not yet in bloom. It doesn't actually start to bloom until the plant gets much larger. But this one is a blue petunia that is my own personal variety, but any blue petunia should work to make this a nice basket. So we're going to put a blue here, and then we're going to balance it out and put another blue in the front. So this is what our planter is going to look like when it's finished. We're going to make sure that we're putting our colors opposite of one another. So we have 2 blue over here, 2 red and white here, and then our white in the center. This produces a good balance for the basket, and it makes sure that the foliage is growing evenly and we don't have a basket that's lopsided. With this planter, I would also just stay with 5 plants. Putting more might actually overcrowd the basket, meaning that not all the petunias are going to perform as well as we would like them to. Okay, it's time to go ahead and start putting plants in our planter. So the first thing we're going to do is remove any tags. Make sure that those are off to the side. When you're removing a petunia from its pot, especially a square nursery container, you're going to turn it upside down. So place 2 fingers on either side of the stem of the plant, turn it upside down Squeeze in one direction, squeeze in the other, and then your plant should fall free. Very important that we don't disturb the root ball. These plants are not going to get root bound. There's no reason to break this up. That's simply going to slow the plant down and hurt it in its growth. So let's leave that intact. After that, go ahead and gently turn the plant over. So I place one hand underneath, I put that down there and gently set it in its location. And that's a process that I'm going to repeat as I go around this container. I take my plant, slip 2 fingers on either side of the stem of the plant, turn it upside down while supporting it, squeeze in multiple directions, and gently pull off that nursery container. Turning it back over, I plant that back here. Now you'll notice that we're going to be building this basket in a cross design so that we've got pots opposite of one another and one in the center. This is going to allow for perfect balance in our basket and make sure that we have something that looks good and uniform as it begins to grow. Okay, same process, turning it over, squeezing, dropping the pot free, and then placing it in its given location. All right, so we've got 3 of our plants in here. Now it's time to go ahead and plant our central plant, which is going to be our Firefly Petunia. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and fill in some of the gaps. Our Firefly Petunia is actually in a plug, which means it is in a smaller container. So I'm going to go ahead and use our peat perlite mix, gently placing that in the voids around the sides to kind of fill in. And I'm going to build up some space in the center to receive our plug. And as you can see, we've got these large plugs from LightBio, which is going to be perfect for placing in this basket. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little hole in the center, move some soil away, place our plug in, and then tuck the soil in around it. Now we want to make sure we're not going too high with the soil here. We're going to leave about a 1-inch gap from the top of this planter to the surface of the soil. So I'm going to go ahead and put the next plant in, and then we will finish this planter off. We're going to put our last blue in, placing it there in its right location. Then we're grabbing handfuls of soil, lifting up the plants, and putting that soil there in on top. Going to move those leaves out of the way so that we have space to tuck that in. And then you can tuck soil in front of the containers if they're not all the way there, and finish dressing up the pot. You can give it a little bit of a shake. It's going to help settle the soil. And then just turn it around, add soil where it's missing, give it a little bit of a shake. All right, the last thing that we need to do for our patriotic planter is we need to go ahead and water those plants in. So we're going to do that 3 separate times. So we're going to give it a good watering the first time, allow it to sit about 20 minutes, water it again, and then repeat that a 3rd time. So we should make sure that those plants get well watered, that that soil is nice and damp, and that those plants have a really good drink. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed learning how to put together a patriotic planter for your backyard for 4th of July this year, where we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country's birth. As always, on behalf of LightBio and Ag Teacher Thoughts, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed Ag Teacher Thoughts.